The second reading for the Feast of the Most Holy Trinity comes to us from St. Paul's letter to the Romans. Brothers and sisters, those who are led by the Spirit are children of God. For you did not receive a spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you received a spirit of adoption, through whom we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God, and if children, then heirs. Heirs of God and joint heirs with Christ, if only we suffer with him, so that he may also be glorified with him. History tells us that St. Paul was a Pharisaic Jew and a Roman citizen. And while I'm sure that this dual personality sometimes caused him difficulty, it also helps us to understand his theological writing. Today's reading is just such an example. St. Paul tells us that we have received a spirit of adoption that makes it possible for us to say, Abba, Father. There was no such thing as adoption in the Jewish world of the first century. There was no need of it. Jewish families were composed of the eldest brother, his wife and children, surrounded by his brothers, their wives, and their children. The children lived as brothers and sisters, even though today we would call them cousins. If a child's parent died, he simply went on living with his cousins, his aunts, and uncles. Romans, however, did accept the custom of adoption. Their names were changed to reflect their new status and family ties. Perhaps the most famous example of this comes to us from the movie Ben-Hur, where Judah Ben-Hur, a slave, was adopted by Arius, a Roman patrician. As his adopted son, Ben-Hur inherited Arius's fortune when Arius died. Paul uses this image to describe who we are in God's family. Through our baptism, through our dying with the Lord Jesus, we are given the spirit of adoption and become co-heirs with Christ. That which Jesus has received by this obedience to the will of the Father is also ours if we die with Jesus and rise with him. Just as an adopted Roman child benefited from the generosity of the adoptive parent, we benefit from the adoptive, generous mercy of God the Father. Joined to the largest and most powerful family, the power that comes to us comes when we give ourselves over to the sacrificial death of Jesus. When we become last so that we might be first, and become least so that we might be the greatest.